Hello everyone, this will be a really quick video to show you. I'm gonna prove to you mathematically that yes, Xbox Series S will last until the end of this generation, but proportionally scaled down from the Series X. Like, talking about resolution in graphics, of course. First off, truly the only thing that matters here is the quantity of teraflops in the graphics card, because we're comparing like the same generation from the same company. And yes, the processor is a little bit lower speeds on the Series S, but considering the resolutions will be lower and like the graphics will be lower a little bit, then it just doesn't matter. It really, like, the difference is like it just doesn't matter. That's the truth. So we're going to actually compare the amount of teraflops units on the Series X and Series S. You can quickly see that yes, Series X has 12 teraflops and the Series S has 4 teraflops. It basically means that the Series S is 1/3 of the power. Of course, we're talking about graphics processing power, not processor like the CPU. We're strictly talking about GPU right now. It has 1/3 of the power that the Series X has, of course, graphically speaking. And if we do a quick check, 4K resolution is 3840 times 2160, which is equal to 8 million and a lot of stuff. So basically the Series X will be rendering 8,294,400 pixels. And for 1440p will render 2560 times 1440 resolution, which is 3 million pixels. Oh my god, so much less. And if we actually like get this number right here, which is the amount of pixels rendered on the Series X, and divide by this, well, it's kind of a bummer because this basically shows that the Xbox Series S, if we're talking about rendering a game in 1440p at the same graphical level as the Series X and at the same frame rate, it would mean that it would need to actually be 2.25 times lower, talking about teraflops. So it would basically mean that the amount of teraflops would actually be 12 divided by 2.25, which is 5.3 teraflops. So this basically shows that if we're talking about the same graphic settings, the same resolution, of course, like in this case 1440p, but with the same graphic setting, that's what I'm talking about, and the same frame rate, it would actually need to have 5.3 teraflops. It doesn't have, it actually has 4 teraflops. But just remember one small detail. Graphics power scale a lot. Like the amount of power on the GPU scale a lot when you scale up resolution and graphic settings. So if we actually consider that the graphic settings will be like trimmed down a little bit, it would probably get to 4 point something something. But that's talking about 1440p already. And we're talking like if the game runs at 4K 60 FPS on the Series X, it would probably run, like talking about the same graphic settings, it would probably run at 1440p 30 FPS really fine. But if the graphic settings are actually trimmed down a little bit, it actually can run at 1440p 60 FPS because it's just so close. And we're not even talking about 1080p here, because 1080p is actually much more lower. It's 1920 times 1080, which is equal to 2 million pixels, pretty much. And this is actually rather a very easy count, but I'm just doing this to prove to you mathematically. Oh my god, wait, okay. If we want to render a game at 1080p, it has to have 4 times less the amount of power needed to run the same game at the same graphic settings. And hooray, surprise, surprise, it has more than that. It would mean that the Series S, only had to have 3 teraflops in this case, because it's basically 12 divided by 4, which is 3 teraflops, and it has 4 teraflops. And that is here to show that yes, it has the amount of power needed. Of course, it's almost half of the price of the Series X for a reason. And it's because, well, it will not run at the same resolution and frame rates and graphic settings as the Series X. But it just doesn't mean that the Series S will not last until the end of the generation. It will. And there's actually one more reason to show us that yes, Series S will hold up until the end of the generation. And that's basically AMD FSR and NVIDIA DLSS and the own solution that Microsoft is developing right now for the Xbox. It means that the game will run in a slower, I'm sorry, not in a slower, in a lower resolution and be upscaled using machine learning. And Microsoft is really good at doing machine learning. I'm a computer science student, so I really know what I'm talking about right now. So yes, the Series S will hold up until the end of the generation. You don't need to be scared. Yes, it will run perfectly fine until the end of the generation. You just don't need to be afraid. Like, of course, we're talking about 4K on the Series X and 1440p slash 1080p on the Series S. That's it. Just expect the Series S, of course, for the future games to always perfectly run the games at 1080 60 FPS. Because we've seen here using like the calculator that the same game can run in the same graphic settings at the same frame rate as the Series X if the Series S is running at 1080p. I'm sorry, I'm not an English native speaker, so it may get a little like mixed up, but I think you can get the point. Like it's pretty easy to see this. So yes, it would need to actually have 3 teraflops, but it has 4. So it can even run like a resolution above. I'm guessing the future games will have like 1440p 30 FPS and 1080p 60 FPS, considering of course that the Series X runs at 4K 60 FPS, the same game. So that was about it, and just a curiosity, Lost Judgment runs in the resolution priority mode. It runs at native 4K resolution with a 30 FPS cap on the Series X. It's not written here on this website, but I've searched already. And on the Series S, it runs at 1440p at 30 FPS. So it's here to show that even though it would need to be like 2.25 times lower, it can actually hold up pretty nicely. And we're talking about Lost Judgment. It runs on Dragon Engine. I don't know if you know about the Yakuza games. This isn't like a really modern and built for next generation game. And we've seen that, for an example, Psychonauts 2 runs at 4K 60 on the Series X, and on the Series S, it actually runs at something like, I'm not sure, but I think it's 1620p 60 FPS and 1080p 120 FPS. So yeah, the Series S, I'm sorry, is really capable. Don't be afraid to buy it. It's just awesome. And thank you for watching this video. Hope you liked it. Comment down below if you have any thoughts or if you think I'm wrong. And that was it. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.